Hello and welcome everyone. If you're watching this, you missed day 2 of our week 18 computer science principles class. Welcome. This is basically our last kind of learning class. We're just going to be relaxing and doing a little bit of review next time, and that'll be our last class. So, what is our last topic? We're going to learn just a little bit more about objects. Now, objects, as previously mentioned, are very powerful and very complicated. We don't have enough time to learn everything, but I want to give you a good foundation for if you do choose to proceed with computer science further, will set you up nicely to understand these more difficult problems and concepts in greater depth quicker since you'll have seen them before. Your assignment, Data Story 110201, is due tonight at midnight, assuming you're watching this on Friday. Otherwise, it's past due. Please make sure you get that to me. So what did we discuss? Well, it turns out objects have some downsides if you literally declare every single one. For instance, here's a common mistake you might see. Here's person 1, here's person 2. They're both what's called object literals, which are the kinds of objects we've learned about so far. That is to say, they are declared with specific properties inside each that are given specific values. Now, these happen to have the same properties, and likely the idea is for each kind of person to have the same kinds of properties so that you can store them into, let's say, a list and then reference their properties that way. Now, unfortunately, there's a spelling error right here. This would cause a lot of problems, because if I try to reference the height property of person 2, I would get an undefined, because there is no height property. There's a height property, but that doesn't help us. So how can we avoid this? And also, this is kind of a niche problem, but how can we do a lot of other more complicated things? That's our topic for today. Unfortunately, code.org does not go into this. This is a little bit too hard for it. So we will be using Khan Academy. Now, if you've never used Khan Academy before, Khan Academy has fantastic sources on JavaScript. So if you type in Khan Academy JavaScript into Google, you will get this very first link here to their Intro to Java course class. They also have an advanced one. If you really enjoy JavaScript, you can learn lots about it. Now, the first little bit here is just stuff that we already know, except their editor is a little different. So let's look at their editor real quick. First of all of their videos that are tutorials actually show you in real time how they're coding something. And one of the cool features is if you want to, you can actually type into the code that they've created as they go and see how that changes things. Second, there are obviously no blocks that you can see that you can drag and drop. So unfortunately, it is all type-based, but that is how real programming works. So it's a little bit more big boy, a little bit, more advanced, but you guys can handle it. So third, they do have the ability to draw using JavaScript, which is something that's very, very common in real JavaScript applications. For instance, here's a function that draws an ellipse on the right here. It is executed as you type. It's an interpreted language. So for instance, I could actually move this around by changing what the x value of it is. If I make it 0, 0, you'll see that the origin is up here at the top left corner of the screen. This is true for all computer applications. If you're going to play something on the screen and you need an x and y value, they're going to be in pixels, and they're going to be referenced with 0, 0 being the top left corner of the screen. As you increase x, you see you'll move to the right. As you increase y, you'll see you move down. So that's a little bit unintuitive with y moving you down, but that is how it's done. All right, so that's Khan Academy for you. Now, on MyMCPS, I have posted a link under modules to a Khan Academy object-oriented programming tutorial. What that'll take you to is right down here, and they do have resources and all the things we've studied this year as well. We're going to go to object-oriented design. So this talks about this new idea of creating an object that is not a literal object. So these are literal objects. I'd recommend you watch this video. I'm not going to play it here for you today, but I'm going to skip to the end and point out what it'll look like. So instead of having literal objects, we're now going to move to what's called an object type. So they have declared Winston notice that W is capitalized, as a type of object. And you do this by saying it's equal to a function, and the function is going to take in as parameters all the things necessary to define what an Winston is. Notice what is then done with these parameters. Each one is stored inside this dot and then the name of the property. What is this? Well, we are going to be making multiple versions of this Winston thing. There's not just going to be one Winston. There's going to be many Winstons, and each one is going to have its own name, age, x, and y. So this refers to a specific instance of Winston. And this global definition of Winston isn't going to really exist per se as an object. It's rather a data type explaining what the object will look like once you make one. So these are keywords. And we actually go to declare one of these Winstons down here. We say var Winston, this is a teenage Winston, equals new. This keyword means create a brand new object. And then what type? Well, capital W, Winston. And then you tell it what kind of name, age, x, and y you'd like it to have. We call this kind of function a constructor function. It defines how you construct a Winston. So I highly recommend you explore this on your own. There's a challenge over here that we did in class to create some rainbows. So just to kind of get across this idea of a constructor. And then there are these two other videos that we didn't get to, but I highly encourage you to check out for methods, and there's one for object inheritance. You can really do a whole lot with these powerful concepts, and as previously stated, these would be something useful to know about in future programming classes, should you take any, and if you, who knows, end up doing programming in the future, this could be a useful concept. Lastly, there's an end of semester survey. It's posted right here, second from the top under modules. At some point, if you guys could please fill this out, that would be very much appreciated. Just give me some feedback on how the semester went for you. What did you feel was good? What wasn't so good? What could be improved about the class? And I will use all that information to make the class better next year. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time for our last class. Take it easy.